Hey, good morning once again, everybody. Meteorologist Jim Dickey here with another edition of Tropics Talk. Lots to talk about, despite the fact that it's still technically before the official start of hurricane season here this morning. So let's get right to it. Looking out across the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico, there are two areas that the Hurricane Center is monitoring this morning for potential development. One, the same low we were talking about a few days ago in the central Atlantic off to the north and east of Bermuda, and sort of connected up along the same frontal system to another little swirl that we're watching in the western Gulf of Mexico. That emerged as a complex of thunderstorms over the past 24 hours, moved off the coast of Texas, sat over these warmer waters, and now is showing signs of perhaps that it could spin into a weak tropical system as well. Let's begin with the low near Bermuda to the north and east of Bermuda. Once again, I think the big takeaway here from this is not a threat to the United States, even if this does, likely will, perhaps by the time you're watching this, even if this does take the name Ana. Now, it's a non-tropical low still at this point in time, but it's looking to sort of take on some tropical characteristics. When you look at the sea surface temperatures in the area, they are conducive, close anyway, conducive for this to, again, make that subtropical transition. Now, generally speaking, when we're talking about a purely tropical system, something taking on those tropical characteristics, looking for water temperatures 78 degrees or above, that's where they're warm enough that sort of that upward flow of the warm tropical air near the surface is able to fuel that low coming together. Well, in this case, the waters are borderline. We're talking mid 70s here, warm enough that yes, we could see something subtropical or a weak tropical depression or storm form up. Not something that we'd be talking about intensity going off the charts. Speaking of the charts, there's the intensity plots. Models already initializing with this producing wind speeds up over tropical storm force. But again, they haven't quite found that subtropical or tropical core to name this system Ana just yet. They'll be investigating it throughout the day, though, at the Hurricane Center. And as soon as they do find that sort of core, they will go ahead and drop that name on it in all likelihood. And I do want to quickly go over this. When I use the term subtropical, what am I talking about? When we talk about a tropical cyclone, a depression, a tropical storm, or hurricane, it's just sort of the overall encompassing storm. That is fueled by warm, humid air rising. That's how these storms take their energy. Now, an extratropical storm or low, that's sort of like a nor'easter. That takes its energy, its strength, from the clashing of air masses, from cold polar air moving out of the north on the northern side of the jet stream, hitting warm air being forced upward from that. And then a subtropical has a little bit of both. That's what we're seeing with this. Right now, this is an extratropical or non-tropical low being fueled by a pocket of colder air working out of the north and west. But as that low is sitting over warmer waters, we're going to start to see more of that, again, warm, humid air lifting upward, and it takes on, again, sort of a subtropical hybrid type of look going forward. As we look at the satellite presentation here right now, you can see the eastern side of the circulation is more or less exposed, but where you see those brighter colors showing up, that is where, there's some of that sort of forceful upward motion, some convection going on, a sign that this is taking on more of a warm core. So again, we'll be watching it. In all likelihood, that will take the name Ana. It's going to be short-lived, though. We're talking 24, 48 hours tops that this one is on the board. Let's look at the European forecast model. It shows that low not deepening all that much more going forward here. This is by early Saturday morning. The center's still well to the north and east of Bermuda. They never get in on the heavier rainfall from this, but some gusty squalls and out of the question. Heavy rain, rough seas there for Bermuda. And by the time we get to Sunday morning, early Sunday morning, it's already starting to lift north. You see how the isobars are sort of dipping along the east coast. There's a front that's going to emerge out of New England, a new low pressure area, and that just sort of gobbles this thing up by Sunday evening. That'll be it. Whatever's out there will fall apart and be absorbed into that stronger low up near the Canadian Maritimes going into early next week. So now let's switch gears and look at the low in the western Gulf of Mexico. Again, started as a complex of thunderstorm that moved offshore. Clear swirling going on there, just to the due south of the Houston area. Note, though, you're not seeing those brighter colors like what we were seeing on the satellite presentation of the low near Bermuda. In fact, the only thunderstorms seen at this point in time well off to the east of the center, and that sort of feeder band that's bringing heavy rains once again to parts of Louisiana this morning. So if this is going to become tropical, yes, you do have that swirl going on, but you'd want to see that convection going on, that thunderstorm activity setting up over the center, which at this point, just not looking like it's occurring. A little bit of lightning just to the north, but no heavy thunderstorm activity near that little surface circulation. There's the water temperatures. Yeah, they're definitely warm enough. I think it's a question of time. How much time does this have over these 78, 80 degree waters before it moves northward and moves onshore here later this evening? But we've seen it before where you get something that is named hours before it moves inland. Perhaps just a tropical depression. Perhaps this takes the name, perhaps it beats the Atlantic storm to the punch and takes the name Ana, perhaps Bill. But again, when you look at the wind shear, yeah, the environment not too bad. The wind shear has definitely died down in the western Gulf of Mexico, so you could definitely see a brief spin up here before this moves onshore. Regardless, the impact is going to be more in the way of heavy rain for Texas and Louisiana. Right now, there's not a whole lot of heavy rain associated with the low itself. Again, the heaviest of it is off to the east, but these areas here do not need any more rain. They've been dealing with flooding all week long as they're sort of in that funnel position between broad low pressure to the west, high pressure to the north and east, bringing in that tropical moisture, bringing all that heavy rain. You can see on the European forecast model, it shows that rain still going as we go through the day today, especially in Louisiana. Note, though, it never really deepens that low very much. By 7 o'clock this evening, it's just offshore, and then whatever this is, be it still just a disturbance, be it perhaps a depression or storm, it moves onshore by early tomorrow morning, and whatever there, whatever tropical core is able to develop, falls apart pretty quickly. But that rain does continue to pour down on parts of Texas all the way through the weekend into early next week. And again, flooding is going to be a continuing issue here. Although the rain total is not all that impressive on our models here. We're still talking a good half an inch to an inch of rain in many locations that simply do not need any more rainfall at this point in time. Again, we look at the names list. Ana and Bill, the next two up. We could have both of them falling off the board before we even get to the start of hurricane season, which doesn't get going for another, I think, 11 days at this point, June 1st. And just one last thing I want to leave you with. We actually got our first season forecast in from NOAA yesterday, calling for another active season. And if the season pans out like what we're seeing right now, I think that's a sure bet. 13 to 20 named storms, 6 to 10 hurricanes, 3 to 5 major hurricanes, all up above the 1991 to 2020 average of 14, 7, and 3. And again, we'll be here for you all season long, whether it's active, whether it's closer to normal, regardless. We'll be here tracking anything and everything out there in the tropical Atlantic. So again, Ana is likely to form to the north and east of Bermuda, but then it tracks to the north and east and falls apart. Outside of some wind and rain in Bermuda, no impact to the United States, and it's a short-lived storm, even if it does take a name. The disturbance in the Gulf, a medium chance for development per the latest update from the Hurricane Center. It's going to bring more in the way of rainfall to waterlogged Texas and Louisiana, causing more issues. And again, NOAA saying it's going to be an active season, all signs pointing to an active season. We're not even officially in the hurricane season just yet. This is only the beginning of what's likely going to be another marathon year. Of course, Chief Meteorologist John Patrick, he will have a full update on everything going on out there in the Atlantic coming up tonight on ABC 7 News at 6, 7, 11. I'll be back on Monday with another update on hopefully a much quieter Atlantic by the time we get to early next week. That's it for now. See you next time.